Hey guys, Greg from FactionFab here to show you our steering wheels for the VB WRX. I have all four of our material options here in front of me. You can see we have a mix of real hand-laid carbon fiber, genuine suede, and genuine leather, and different combinations of those on each wheel. Now, one of the things I'm most excited about is the addition of the FactionFab logo that is here in the part of the polyurethane casting. We've done this so that you can know when you buy one of our wheels that it is a genuine designed and manufactured by FactionFab wheel. Now, steering wheels are actually really easy to install, but there are a couple of things that you want to be aware of before you start. So let's go over to our 22 WRX and we can walk through it so you can see how it's done. First thing with the steering wheel, you're always going to want to disconnect the battery. It's a good idea when working with anything with electronics, but especially when you're working around an airbag. So now we are at literally the hardest part of the install, which is removing the airbag. Now there are three little access holes on the back side of the steering wheel on the left, bottom, and right. And inside each of those holes, you're gonna need to stick a small screwdriver and then pry loose a little clip that's holding the airbag. Now, once you get that last one, the steering wheel will come free, but make sure you don't pull it all the way out as there are still some wires connected in the background. So I'm going to switch for a smaller screwdriver, and then you have three connectors right here. So you start by prying up on the yellow locking tabs on the black and orange connectors, and you'll hear them come out. And then just use your screwdriver and stick it in and twist to kind of pry the connector out of the wheel. And then you have your ground wire, which also has a little locking tab on there. And then we can take our airbag and put it to the side. Now, inside of the wheel, we have a couple of things to take care of. The first is going to be this white connector right here on the clock spring, which you can just pinch and then pull the connector out. And then we are ready to undo the main nut on the wheel. And that's going to be done with a 17. And you're gonna want an extension to make sure you can get outside of the face of the wheel. And then we're going to leave the nut partially on, and then we're going to push back and forth to release the wheel away from the splines. There we go. We can finish undoing the nut and then pull off the wheel, making sure to carefully thread the airbag connectors through the hole in the wheel. So over at the table, the first thing we're going to do is remove this screw here. And then we flip it over and you see there are two screws here holding the back cover on. Then we have one small connector here. And then we can flip it over and we can start removing the back cover. Now on this side, you can see we have a couple more screws to remove. And then these are the pins for the steering wheel controls, and we're going to carefully push the controls out of the wheel. There's our controls. And then we have the bottom cover that is also held in by pins. Now the last thing is to remove all the spring clips, which we're going to flip it over and do from the back side. And you can just stick a screwdriver in right here and pop it out. And these white clips are gonna come with it. They might go flying. So then we are all done and ready to go to the FactionFab wheel. So now with the FactionFab wheel, we are just going to do the same exact process, but in reverse. And we are going to start with these little spring clips. You'll notice the white bushing has a little bit of a slot that the spring clip fits in. So when you go to put this in, you'll want to make sure the slot faces where the straight part of the clip goes. And for this wheel, that is going to be towards the inside. So push this in and then put your spring clip in and push it down tight. And on the bottom one, the same. The slot goes towards the center of the wheel. Then we can go to our steering wheel buttons, which you'll want to do the buttons first because there is a little tab here that needs to go in first before the lower trim. Then we can do our lower trim piece. Now we need to do the steering wheel control button screws. These ones are the 2 screws without washers. And then we can do the back cover. And when you're doing the back cover, make sure you're not pinching wires. So tuck them in to the inside. And then these also, you can see the pins here that go into these holes on the wheel, and also down there. And then the 2 screws with the washers. And then finally, our last screw for these controls here. Then we'll want to hook our wires back in on the back cover, as well as plug in our connector down here. Now we're good to go over back to the car. Okay, so once we're in the car, assuming we haven't turned anything, we want to put the wheel straight on. Start by threading the airbag wires through that same hole that it came out of, and then line it up and slowly put it on until you feel it seat on the splines. I'm gonna go ahead and put the nut on here just so we make sure it doesn't come off again. And then we can go ahead and start connecting wires. Okay, so now we're ready for the airbag. To do the airbag, you just connect these again, putting the black in first, and then orange. And each time you should be able to hear a good audible click, and then also the same when pushing down the yellow locking tabs. Then last, don't forget about your little ground wire that goes on the spade. Now to connect the airbag, simply line it up and you're gonna push it into the wheel, and you should also hear the same clicking sound that is the pins engaging with those clips. So after that, the last thing you'll need to do is just connect your battery and start the car up and make sure there's no extra lights or anything, and you should be good to go. Now, this is absolutely one of my favorite mods to ever do on a car because it's something you're going to experience literally every time you drive. You know, some mods like coilovers or turbo or whatever, you really need to get onto an open road or a track in order to experience it to the fullest. But this is something that you're going to be able to feel literally every time you get in the car. And it's just that one step up, you know, towards luxury and race car with the quality materials, the contouring, the padding. It's just an amazing feeling to get in the car and drive this every time. Now, don't be afraid to hit us up if you have any questions. We are on Instagram, Facebook, or email us for fastest response, sales@factionfab.com. We are always available, always happy to talk to our customers, hear feedback, or answer your questions. And we will talk to you next time. Bye.